Mayor Pro Tem Mann,
Here.
Mayor Sternquist.
Here. We move to item. I think we
Mayor
did something.
Sternquist, before we move to the
You're
invocation,
going to report out.
if I may, yes, we did not have a chance to report publicly our special meeting closed session, which finished at about 7:19. The council was briefed by their labor negotiator under Government Code Section 54957.6. No reportable action was taken tonight. Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Now we may move on to the invocation.
Thank you. We move to item 3, the invocation, and welcome, Jerry. We have Jerry Jambazian from Wonder Cleaners here, and he will lead us in the invocation.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's give thanks for this evening. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight once again asking for your blessings upon the proceedings at this council meeting. I pray that you would give your wisdom and discernment to our mayor, mayor pro tem, and council members. You have gifted each one in unique ways for our benefit. We pause to give you thanks for the comeback year of 2022, where we were able to reprise some of our signature city events, such as our Fall Festival and Lights on Temple City and the Camellia Festival coming up. We look forward to 2023 and the hope that it brings in beginnings for our Neighborhood Watch program again this month, emphasizing the importance of citizen awareness and public safety. Lord, as we celebrate this new year that you have given to us, we look forward to celebrating Temple City's 100th anniversary in May. It will be a time of rejoicing in your faithfulness to us as a city. To borrow a catchphrase from the Tournament of Roses, we have turned the corner and the future looks bright. We continue to pray for the unrest in our world and for our protection of our military, law enforcement, and our firefighters who protect and serve us. We ask all of this in your precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Jerry.
You're welcome.
Please join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We move to item 5, ceremonial presentations, and these are the holiday decoration winners. And Tom, if you wouldn't mind coming up and reading the names for me, since
Sure.
I don't have my glasses with me, but Adam, would you like to share
Sure.
about the?
Yes. Thank you, Mayor Sternquist, members of the City Council. Please excuse my voice tonight. I was out doing a lot of yard work yesterday, and I think it kind of is catching up to me tonight. But tonight, we are recognizing the best and brightest holiday decorations in Temple City. Last month, we had our judging committee, which consisted of our Parks and Recreation commissioners, canvass the entire city, searching for both homes and businesses over 2 nights. Of the many, many homes and businesses that were decorated, we have a short presentation of 20 winners that really shined and stood out for their festiveness, creativity, and holiday spirit. The winners received a holiday ornament and lawn sign in December so they can actually show the community that they were one of our 2022 winners. And tonight they'll be receiving a City Council certificate. We do have one of our winners present. That's Bob Westgate and Jessica Gold. Of course, everybody knows within the community. And we'll go through a slideshow so those that are watching can see all the different winners from both our homes and businesses. And then at the end of the presentation, if we can invite up both Bob and Jessica for a photo with the City Council.
Were you a judge, Tom?
No,
Oh.
it wouldn't let me.
Happen.
I've never won one.
Are we having a slideshow?
We are, I should have prepped beforehand with our city clerk, but she's bringing that up
Okay,
really
thank
quickly
you.
right now. Thank you. So just some additional background for those that are interested. We do split up the city into 4 separate quadrants to have recognized winners throughout the city. It's a very difficult process, as those that have judged in the past can attest. There's a lot of homes and businesses that are decorated for the holidays, and choosing the best is always a difficult decision, which I think really which we really want to commend our judges for having to go through that process.
Adam, how does that work? Do people go out and identify them, or do you have to enter?
So we have it set up where you don't have to enter at all. The judging committee, which we went out over 2 nights this year, will drive every single street in the city. So anybody that has lights up, we do notify the public of our 2 judging dates. So if they are interested in being judged, they can have those lights up and ready to go on those 2 nights. But we will physically drive throughout the entire city, up and down every single street, trying to find those standout homes.
You know, Adam, he's only asking because he tried really, really hard
He
this
didn't
year
think
to
you
win.
passed by his street.
Really, really hard.
We'll have to make a point to judge that extra thoroughly next year.
If, while we're pulling up the presentation, if the council doesn't mind coming up and Mrs. Gould
Sure.
and Mr. Westgate can.
Yeah.
Bob and Jessica, if you don't, yeah, we can come up and do that to begin with.
Council members, I think.
So that Williams in the background?
I don't need any more.
So congratulations to the Westgates for being a winner of the Christmas decorating contest. Congratulations.
This way over, right there. Okay, good. Vern, get a little closer to Cynthia. She's not gonna bite you. Here we go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that'd be great. Hang on a second, let me get a picture of this. Good, thank you. See you guys. See you Christmas card down next year. Yeah, that's your Christmas card for next year. Do we want to announce the other ones that aren't?
Yes,
before we do
yes,
that?
definitely. We were able to find the presentation, so that'll show every single one of our winners and
Nice.
as well as their homes. So if we can have the first slide. So these are all of our resident winners. So we have 5010 Dale View residents, Greg and Kathy Wazioleski. Next we have 5531 Robin Hood Avenue. It's Mark and Regina Soriano. Next, which is right by Live Oak Park, so we get to see this one often. It's 10031 Bogue. That's Lori and Joey Aragon.
That's expensive.
Next, we have 10520 Olive, and that's TJ and Seema Johnson. Next is 5302 Barella, and that's Jim Dyer. 5503 Golden West, Tom Thompson and Dolores Chavez.
That's the one on the corner, isn't it, of Broadway, I think? and
Yes, yes,
Broadway
right
and
at the
Golden
corner.
West, yeah.
6418 Barella, and that's Nancy and Jason Gonzalez. 9655 Olive Street, Sam Bursane. 4902 Alessandro, Sharon and Wanda Smith. 9233 Hecla, Stan Bakey. 951 Olive Street, Guang Yang. 957 La Rosa, Laurel Koenig. 4913 Serrano Russell and Panada. 5928 Burton, that's Eric and Ellen Beiser. Of course, both Bob and Jessica at 9056 Rancho Real, Whoville inspired for this year. 9081 Emperor, Jim and Christine Justice. And then we have our 4 business winners. First one is The Dive. Next we have Banana Bay. Third was Modern Lighting. And then finally on Las Tunas, Super Pets as our business winners. So for the 2022 holiday decorating season, these were our standouts and highlights. And again, we'd like to extend our gratitude to all of those that decorated this year, especially Councilmember Vizcarra for making our holiday season so festive and bright. Thank you very much.
Why, what did you do?
He went over and above.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Oh,
I had Elf in front of my house.
Oh, I didn't
You
get
know,
a
the
chance to drive by
Figure
there.
of Elf.
Every day he was adding something new.
Nice.
To
And you didn't get selected?
They never even looked at
Oh,
me.
well. So I have a question, if you don't mind.
No.
How many new entrance winners do we have? It seemed like we had a lot of newer.
We do. So one of the changes that we had made a few years ago is that to try to have some turnover of winners, if you've won in a given year, you're not eligible for the following year. So we have a
Oh,
one-year
okay.
break.
Good.
So some of them were completely new homes. Some of them had won 2 years ago. But we always like seeing the new displays, and I think hopefully it adds some incentive to continue to push the decorating envelope from year to year.
And you know, Adam, I was just looking at my own street. This was the year with more houses decorated on my street than ever. I was so
I agree.
excited.
I agree, more
And
people decorated.
I
it.
think more people decorated this year. So it was really nice to see. What is the deadline for removing the holiday decorations?
That's more of a, I think,
I don't
code
think you know
enforcement
that.
question,
That's
but
probably that's a Brian Arizumi question. I mean.
yes. I believe it's
30 days, didn't we say 30 days after the holiday was over?
Well, it looks so nice. I mean, I'm in no hurry
Remember
to
the one
have it.
year, I think it was the first year of COVID, that we kind of gave
There's
a
an
waiver of that
extension.
and said,
Well, we never
you could leave
closed-
them up as long as you wanted because it looks nice and
That
it gets
was-
people better.
That
yeah.
was Fernando's recommendation. We all agreed, and we
He
said
just didn't
that
want to take his down. man.
when the
No, Joan wanted
emergency,
me to leave them up.
when the
I was.
emergency was over, we would do it. But has the emergency officially been declared over?
I think it's somewhere in the code that we have, that you need to take them down. I think.
But we ignored that for
Yeah.
COVID.
You definitely ignored it. 2020 going into 2021. Last year, I cannot remember. The state of emergency for the state of California is due to expire on February 28th. While there's no national state of emergency, the president has said, from his perspective, the emergency is over and we're sort of living with a pandemic rather than an emergency now.
So Greg, can we just do it on February 28th, or do we have to formally?
I will need to go back and look at what exactly you did a couple years ago in terms of extending, and we'll see where we are.
Okay,
And I'll let you all know. Thank you.
okay, great. All right. Okay, public comment on items not listed on the agenda. I think I have one for Dawn. Dawn? Taryn? Hello, Dawn.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Well, it's January of 2023, and the Camellia Festival is ready to get cracking. So I'm here to remind everyone that the Royal Court applications for all of our Temple City first graders are due by January 9th. That's this coming Monday. And for all of the organizations and groups who want to participate in the parade or in the carnival, the application deadline is February 13th. And make sure to mark your calendars for February 24th, 25th, and 26th, which will be the 79th Camellia Festival. Thank you.
Dawn.
Yes.
Dawn and I were talking the other day, and I said, you know, this would, since it's I'm technically still the mayor of this
You are.
year. Would I get to be the mayor in the parade for a second time? That's how much I love being the mayor and in the parade. But she said, yeah, I think so. But then I was thinking, she mentioned, well, that Vince wasn't able to be in the parade to be the mayor because of COVID, and I think you weren't able to be the mayor. So can't we all be in the parade?
If we could find enough cars, or if you want to ride together,
Well, I know where we can get some golf carts.
we can certainly talk about it.
But I thought it would be nice, since they didn't have the opportunity because of COVID to be in the parade.
I think it's definitely something I can talk about with the committee.
Okay, please do.
I will,
Well, that's
thank
very,
you.
very nice of you. Thank
Oh,
you.
well, I would love to have you come.
And we love the support of the city council.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Nope. All right, closed public comment. Move to item 7, the consent calendar, and everybody knows that drill.
One caveat, Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
On item 4B, I would just like to add one part to the memorandum of understanding with the Historical Society.
Are you talking about 7B?
Yes, sir.
Sorry,
7B.
excuse me, 7B. In the memorandum, it speaks of the 10 times a year to use the hall. If I could just add the language, subject to availability of the hall, if I don't see any objection to that, we'll add that as part of the final
I
language.
think we all assumed that anyway.
It-
You mean we can't use it when it's not available? Geez.
Thank you. That's it.
Okay, can we get a motion and a second?
Motion to approve consent calendar?
Second.
Any objections? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Chavez?
Yes.
Councilmember Viscara?
Yes.
Councilmember Yu?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Man?
Yes.
Mayor Sternquist?
Yes. Okay, that's approved. Lots of nice things on that consent calendar to approve. We move to item 8. Public hearing, none. Finished business, none. New business, none. Update from our city manager.
Happy New Year.
Update from our city attorney.
So this one will actually be a bit longer, and it's timely with Mayor Pro Tem joining us remotely tonight. As mentioned earlier, the state of emergency for the state of California is due to expire. As part of what we've all learned during the pandemic, the state has recognized that remote access to meetings is not the worst idea in the world. And so this year, Assembly Bill 2449 was passed. Now, I'm going to send you council members a sort of bullet point reminder of how to trigger Assembly Bill 2449 if you need to, and that would be beginning March 1st. But I wanted to go over it tonight for your benefit and for the benefit of the public. The bill amends the Brown Act to make changes to remote attendance at meetings and public remote access to meetings. As you'll remember, under the old rule, you had to post the agenda at the remote location where you would be, and the place where you would be had to be publicly accessible. In addition, the agenda itself had to list the location where you would be with as much specificity as we could have. So it might say something like Hilton Hotel Sacramento Business Center, and then give the address of the hotel. Now, obviously, during the COVID era, the rules for remote participation, as with the Mayor Pro Tem tonight, changed radically. First of all, no public access was needed because the assumption was you'd be attending remotely from a home. You didn't need to post the agenda at your site, and the agenda didn't need to list the site of where you were. But as the COVID era stretched on, and under the Assembly Bill 361 that we're operating under today, one key thing that needed to be in place was a state of emergency that required that recognized that some people wouldn't be able to get to the location. Assembly Bill 2449 is kind of a hybrid of the old rule and the new rule. It does allow remote access without the agenda identifying the site where you are, without the public coming into the site, but only under some limited circumstances. The legislature, in its wisdom, has used for one set of circumstances the phrase just cause. Now, any lawyer would tell you that just cause is whatever you think just cause is, but that's not what the statute says. Under the statute, just cause is child care or caregiving of a relative that requires your participation to be remote, or a contagious illness, or a need related to your own physical or mental disability, or travel for the city or another governmental entity. Now, those are the four ways that you can trigger a just cause participation. There are a couple restrictions on those. First, you have to notify the city at your earliest opportunity. Fairly easy if you have travel or caregiving. And you have to provide a general description to the city clerk of what the just cause item is, and then that's shared with the council. The second is just cause can only be triggered 2 times in each calendar year, which leads us to the second item, which is emergency circumstances. Emergency circumstances are defined in the statute as a physical or family medical emergency that prevents the council member or prevents the government official from attending the meeting in person. So again, restrictions on those. First is that you must request that the other council members allow your remote participation, and they must take action at the meeting. If you can request early enough, great, it'll actually be on the agenda. Otherwise, sort of like the closed session report I gave today, it'll just be inserted onto the agenda at the start, and the rest of the city council must take action to allow the remote participation. As part of this, you must give a general description of what the emergency issue is. No need to disclose personal medical information, and it doesn't need to be more than 20 words. But those emergency circumstances, as we say, just cause, you trigger it yourself. Emergency circumstances, you're asking your fellow council members to let you in. For all of these, or for both of these sets of new rules, the public has to be allowed to participate remotely. So if something arises, the sooner that you can give notice to the city clerk's office or the city manager, the better, because the agenda will be revised to let the public know that remote access will be possible. Much like the COVID era rules, the public is not just viewing, but has to be allowed to actually give comments. What that means is that if for some reason during that meeting, the remote participant Zoom breaks or something else goes wrong with the computer, the meeting actually has to stop, much like our meetings today, because once you've started that meeting, it has to finish being open to the public remotely. Much like today, the council member participating remotely must keep their camera on. And this one's new. You must disclose the name and the relationship of any non-minor, any person over the age of 18 who's in the room with you. Now, again, part of that family medical emergency, if you're in a room with other family members, they just want the public to know. They don't want the public seeing you potentially on mute, looking and talking to someone, wondering, is that somebody trying to influence you instead of being in the room? So that's the rationale for it, even though it does seem a bit invasive. But the purpose of the rules is to preserve public trust that the council member is focusing on the meeting and that their remote participation is truly a medical emergency. Finally, there's an overall limit of 20% of meetings, 20% of meetings per year that may be remote. And how they measure that is 20% of your number of regular meetings in a year. So for us, that's 4 meetings. 4.8 would be our scheduled number, because 4.8 is 20% of 24, but we have to round down to 4%. If you use 2 just cause remote accesses, then the other 2 would have to be emergency circumstances. You could do all 4 emergency circumstances. It's up to you, and it's up to your particular needs. And then as a final point, if you're willing to post the notice on the place where you are and allow the public in if the public wants to come in, then the old rules are still in place. They still apply. This is just an exception that's intended to alleviate some of the hardship of posting notice and allowing the public in cases where medical situations require.
If you post notice, does that count towards the amount?
Nope, that's old rules and totally separate.
But I believe even if you post at your front door, your house needs to be ADA accessible. And for most people, that's not going to be possible.
Correct. Correct. That is a new rule. You are right, sir. Yep.
I have a question. I know in the past, we've had difficulties with our remote access. Is that still the case, or are we able to do that now? I mean, so what I think I heard Greg say is that if somebody is doing remotely, then the public has to be able to access remotely.
Correct.
Do we do that now?
Yes.
So if somebody wanted to log in right now, they could?
Yes,
And where do they get that information?
that information is
On the agenda?
is on the agenda, and the
Same like it used to be.
as it always has been, and the posted agenda online actually has the link directly to the Zoom link, so somebody could do that. The city clerk grants access no differently through the public comment period as she does during when people are in person.
And will they have full access, or was it like before where they could only do it by phone?
No, they
Can they get on the picture?
they can get on both ways, but
Okay.
we have to be careful about the picture issue. I'll bet with the council member they have to be on video, but
The public does not have to.
the public does not have to.
Really?
Right. The public has to be allowed to see video, but you can keep them strictly non-video.
Well,
not-
they can keep themselves on,
Right. And if,
sort of like my classrooms.
yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, that's it, Greg?
And again, you'll get the bullet point list of how to trigger this, what to look for, and we'll keep track of what it will mean in terms of administrative, but I know it's a lot of information, so we'll try and streamline it for you
Does
best
this
we
apply
can.
to school boards as well?
Every governmental entity in the state, special
Okay.
districts, everything, yep.
Greg, I have a question. I saw this morning, there was a clip on the Channel 5 News, and it just briefly showed a member of the public being escorted out after a first warning at an LA City Council meeting. So I'm wondering, because they were having such difficulty, was there something revised that says, as long as you have told someone they are being disruptive, they can now be removed?
I think that's a new law just went into effect.
Exactly right, yes. The public meeting laws have been revised to allow for actual disruption to result in the person being removed from the chambers. There's a series of steps you have to go through. I don't have them with me tonight, but it's fairly straightforward and probably what you saw. The person has to objectively be disrupting the meeting. That generally means somebody in the audience is yelling, is shouting, is rushing forward, doing things that actually stops the city council from hearing other people, discussing amongst yourselves and voting. And if that actual disruption of your work is taking place, you can have someone removed much more easily than you could before this bill.
So are they, for example, I had mentioned that Fernando and I serve on Foothill Transit, and there is continual, we see it as disruption, but it's basically the language that they are using that disrupts. I mean, we feel it's disruptive, but I think because of the connotation of the words they're using, it does affect members of the public. Is that, are they still protected on that end?
That's going to be a very close case, and it's going to require Foothill Transit staff and your legal counsel there to sort of document the impacts and document how that is disruptive to the business of the agency, because someone who uses vile language and stops at the 3-minute mark and goes and sits down, doesn't yell and scream, gets up for the next item, does the same thing, that may not rise to the level of actual disruption, where somebody who screams, happy birthday and won't stop singing it would actually disrupt what was going on. So there's going to be some gray area. There are certainly going to be some cases that go to court that help delineate where the boundaries are.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Item 15, additional public comments on items not listed on the agenda. Don,
You've read 14,
14?
yeah. So
What
item
happened to
separate.
14?
Council item separate.
Oh, sorry.
It's all
Just a
right.
minute, Don. I left my glasses at home. Okay, any council items separate from what's on the agenda? Any? Do you
No,
have-
I don't have
Nope.
any.
Anyone? Okay, Don? Item 15?
Well, I have my Historical Society hat on, and I would like Robert Westgate, our newly, will he be sworn in as president this Sunday, and Mary Sneed, who's our museum, what's your,
Curator?
Curator. Director, there you go, museum director. We would all like to thank the council for your generosity and support of the museum. So thank you very much. I also would like to take this opportunity to invite the public and the council and anybody who is present to join the Historical Society and to attend our first general meeting of the year and our museum, which will be open this Sunday. So the museum is open this Sunday from 11 to 2. And the general meeting will begin at 2 o'clock. And one of the really fun items that we're going to be discussing at the general meeting is the 100th anniversary of the founding of Temple City. And we want to figure out how the Historical Society can celebrate that. So I encourage anyone who's interested to please attend.
And Don, I am looking for the person who is 100 years or older who lives in Temple City.
Oh.
So if anyone knows of anyone, if you could please let me know.
You want someone who's been living here for the 100 years?
100 years.
Yes. Might be a challenge, but you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
There are people hiding out there.
So if anyone knows someone, please let me know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other public comment? None? Okay, I'm going to close public comment. And did I miss anything else?
No,
Nope. Okay. Just one last thing. Brian, do we have a tentative date for State of the City?
Not yet, but we're gonna work on that.
And if you could work with the
Yep.
Historical Society
Yep.
to work that out.
To make sure the site is available.
Yes, to make sure it's available.
Will
better
do.
reserve now.
And I was hoping that possibly, if we do it and it is available, that we can tie it into the 100 years and definitely have the museum open prior to the State of the City. So we can
That'd be
work on
great.
that
That'd be
together.
great.
Okay, if there's nothing else, then we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.